Distinguished guests, I would like to specially acknowledge Puan Kaiziati binti Osman, Director of Institut Aminuddin Baki, Sabah, our panel of Best Presenter, Dr. Haslina binti Said and Dr. Ghazali bin Sulaiman, and the Secretary and Timekeeper, Dr. Nur Azlina Rose binti Abdul Rahman. Also, a warm welcome to all heads of departments, excellent lecturers, senior lecturers, presenter, participants, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Rosilawati binti Ismail and I have the privilege to be the moderator for this best practices session in our 4th International Conference on Educational Leadership and Management 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall start with our parallel academic presentation. The theme for today's presentation is Values-Driven Leadership in the World of Education. Before we begin, let me inform you of some of the ground rules. Please ensure your mobile phones are on silent or vibrate mode to avoid any disruption during the presentation. Each presenter will be given 8 to 10 minutes of presentation, followed by a 2-minute Q&A session. Please adhere to the time limit. The bell will ring once to indicate you have 2 minutes left. The bell will be rung twice to indicate the end of your presentation. You need to end your presentation immediately. For those who have any question for the presenter, you are allowed to do so during the Q&A session. To maintain a professional atmosphere, kindly listen attentively and remain silent during the presentation. Thank you for your cooperation. Ladies and gentlemen, our first presenter today is Dr. Jamila Bibi Abdullah from Institut Aminuddin Baki, Genting Highlands. She will present her paper entitled The Role of Artificial Intelligence AI in School Leaders Instructional Leadership. Please welcome Dr. Jamila Bibi Abdullah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good morning. Today I would like to share my presentation titled The Role of Artificial Intelligence in Instructional Leadership Practice in 4-Stage Simulation. I am Dr. Jamila Bibi and this is all my colleagues. Okay, in this area of transformation, artificial intelligence, digitally fluent students and positioning Malaysia to meet the challenge of the 5th industrial revolution with the implementation of digital education policy and Malaysia Millennium Agenda. Education is rapidly evolving through digital transformation. I now play a significant role in supporting school leaders, especially in instructional leadership. However, practical understanding among principal senior assistants still remains limited. I receive teaching through the data-driven decision-making, enhanced creativity, personalized learning. report presentation, data analysis, schedule and communication. Through data processing, school leaders can focus more on decision making and instruction improvement rather than routine administrative duty. School leaders play a vital role in cultivating an innovative and future-ready school ecosystem. Students gain access to self-directed and interactive learning experience, fostering creativity, curiosity, and personalized programs relying in their learning pace and needs. Findings and level of instruction leadership that we know school leaders are still low and moderate in using and utilizing artificial intelligence for school purpose. The role of AI in communicating goals appears to be the most prominent, yet it has not reached an advanced level of communication. So you can see from the picture there, the instruction leadership only on the moderate level. Then suggested application, digital training and targeted intervention should focus on the use of AI in teacher supervision and management function. Provide practical guidelines for the use of AI and instructional leadership. Leaders can apply these findings to design school digital strategic plan or professional development program for the educational leaders.
Okay, thank you.
Funding, okay, from the article attendance and diversity and digital leadership contributing to the AI principle leadership. To the AI leadership practice, it's about professional learning and embedded AI, solo AI, innovative AI, and so on. The professional learning show a very more contribution to the AI. It was written here. All AI tested is 32 AI from the DEMA, and then three digital learning we contribute to the regression AI, and then we found only 6 of them are very committed. Okay, all AI elements contribute significantly to the international practice. Professional learning remain the most critical factor. Without digital understanding and competence, AI cannot create meaningful impact. Tools such as embedded AI, Suno AI, Kahoot, and Magic Soup can be integrated through the support key. Instructional functions such as content delivery, formative assessment, lesson design, and student engagement. Implication: train school leaders is digitally instructional management to success professional development. Encourage the use of AI in AI-based education such as Kahoot, Magic School, and embedded AI within school community. Develop a digital school system and support interactive and creative and data-driven learning. Conclusion: AI is not meant to replace teachers or leaders, but to make them more effective. In essence, the future of instructional leadership depends on how effectively educational leaders harness the power of AI, to strengthen the pedagogical decision making, empower teachers, and sustain meaningful learning for every student. Okay, that's all my presentation for today. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Jamila Bibi Abdullah, for the presentation. We will now open the floor for questions. If you have any question, please raise your hand and we will pass the microphone to you. Is there any questions from the floor? Okay, with that we thank you, Dr. Jamila Bibi. Okay, we will now move on to our next presentation. Our next presenter is Puan Aisyah Muhammad Hamdan from Sekolah Menengah Kebahasaan
Tersasul. Tak ada. Tak, okey.
is Puan Aisyah Muhammad Hamdan from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Tasik Damai, Ipoh Perak. She will present her paper entitled Reimaging Instructional Leadership Through Differentiated Learning as a Value-Based Leadership Practice.
Hello, test. Mic test. Is there anything coming up? Hello, mic test. Mic test. Okay, all right. Oh, my test. Oh, that's better. A few years ago, I asked a teacher during coaching, if every learner is different, then why every lesson is the same? Now that question changed not only the teacher's personal opinion or POV, but it also changed my leadership journey. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning everyone. My name is Aisyah binti Muhammad Hamdan from Ipoh Perak, and my title of my study or my paper today as seen on the screen. Now ladies and gentlemen, I only have about 10 minutes, so let's dive into the presentation. And based on what I said earlier, since I'm holding the mic, so I've got to do a lot of things, running the slides as well as holding my little notes. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, let me go into what inspired my study when we talk about differentiated instruction, which is not only guiding pedagogy, not just seen as a pedagogical approach, but as a manifestation of value-based leadership instruction or practice. Now, to begin with, In 2018, MOE scraped away or removed swimming classes in our national schools. Although there was a big hoo-ha about it, but then by the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we could see the idea of having inclusivity as well as equity as the hearts of our reformation, education reformation. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about removing swimming classes, what is the biggest issue there? Of course, we have so many diverse learners with diverse needs. In my school, for example, 1,700 students in every class, 30 over, coming from diverse background. So what is the tool? What is it that bridges the gap for this particular issue? Definitely we are looking at differentiation, because what bridges all these problems will be using differentiation, because DI, I'm going to use differentiated instruction as DI, yeah, ladies and gentlemen. DI adapts content, process, and product to support all learners. Now, sometimes a lot of people or teachers forget that DI alone does not work wonders. What makes it work wonders would be when there is a bigger umbrella, covering it all. And that comes because it is seen not only as pedagogy, according to scholars, yeah, and also other studies. But then DI requires instructional leaders like ourselves to make it work. Teachers need support, also, equally workload distribution, and this helps a lot for DI to work in classroom or lessons. Ladies and gentlemen, so this comes to what are the problems? The problem statements of the study or the article that I wrote. Although differentiated instruction or DI promotes equity and we know all its positivity, however, scholars also pointed out that its classroom use remain inconsistent. Why? Because teachers are challenged. Okay, teachers are challenged and struggle to implement DI due to limited preparation as well as the less or little ongoing support received and the guided practice. It's easier said than done, put it that way, right? And in this particular study, I am also the researcher as well as that particular school leader who helped teachers to carry out DI or differentiated instruction in my school. Secondly, another problem statement is therefore bringing to the fact that DI needs actually leaders to enable, not just teachers who carry out or deliver the lessons, and value-based leadership practice as well as the DI, they share the same values, and often leadership lacks integration or probably, support to the teachers. Ladies and gentlemen, going on, this brings me to 3 research questions that underlie all this study. First is, when we talk about DI or differentiated instruction, what challenges are perceived by teachers in implementing it? Number 2, or research question 2, how can VBL support teachers' capacity to implement DI effectively? And number 3, we are looking at the most important aspect of all, which are the learners. Why is integrating DI and VBL essential for building equitable and inclusive educational ecosystems? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the conceptual framework which actually guide the study. So I look at VBL as the heart of leadership, where all these values are the ones that drive teachers, and it also drives the leadership, instructional leaders to actually use. This is the hands that translates the values, and these are the ones that turn words of, I would say, ideas into actions. And finally, differentiated instruction is the biggest of all, where it helps learners or teachers to prepare lessons to cater to learners' readiness, interests, as well as their learning profiles, as we go back to how diversified our learners are in our classroom context, right? Okay, so the method of this study, it uses mixed method design. I use, of course, qualitative strand and quantitative and qualitative, the pre and post survey to see where teachers are, because we started with the whole program of Dare to Differentiate, which is the teaching practice to teachers so that they can open their eyes and see what is it about. And all this here are involved during the analysis. So RQ1, ladies and gentlemen. Coming back to my RQ1, so using all the instruments and the tools that we use in the study, what challenges do teachers perceive? So we can see that from the quantitative survey that we had pre and post, we can see there is a rise in confidence, in teachers after receiving the, I would say, the talk, right, the guide from speaker. And also, the standard deviations shows that the participants' answers are pretty much consistent, although there is a variation. And we can see a rise after giving these teachers the first time. What they had was they had to differentiate seminar. We teach them what is DI, how to do it, and all that, and their confidence level rose among some participants, 38 all of them together. However, some said they became more afraid. They feared DI, understanding the the challenges on how to carry out, using tiered exercises and worksheets and all that. All right, and from all the interview questions that we had, teachers are motivated to use DI, but again, the barriers, this confirm teachers' challenges and perspectives. Heavy workload, large class sizes, and they don't have time to prepare the said differentiated worksheets, or I would say practices to be implemented in class. However, PLC reflections that we had with the teachers, and from the PLC reflection shows that teacher actually, it's not about willingness from the teachers. Teachers are willing to run it, but what do they need? Support, consistent support, and continuous support from leaders to make it sustainable. And how can we sort of like, as instructional leaders, how can we sort of like maybe lessen the burden of some work so they can focus on teaching and learning? In RQ2, okay, when we talk about how can VBL, value-based leadership, support teachers' capacity through the program itself, the program content, the facilitation, we can see that many teachers are saying that the talk, the PLC received really helps them, and they are also looking forward for follow-up coaching. So you can see here indicating the agreement part, yeah? And teachers also mentioned about the need for PLC structures. PLC has to be more structured out, and I think that although we always say about differentiated approach, but how many instructional leaders actually help teachers and giving them the required support and the required knowledge that they need? Because after observations in classroom using SKP and G2, I find that some teachers understand, but carrying it out really brings a lot of problems to them, yeah? Because we really have diversified learners in classroom and the size is pretty large. Next, finally for RQ3, this is the heart of it all. So when we talk about differentiated instruction, ladies and gentlemen, by the end of the day, when we talk about teachers running it in classroom, is the students. From the study, we see that students or learners are more engaged. They feel they have a place in the classroom, they can run the lesson because teachers are able to cater to their needs. And this comes from the support, from the guide given through PLCs, and also from discussion as well as lesson observation by instructional leaders. And this is totally qualitative in here. I got a very rich data. It's written in the paper of how teachers actually gave their thoughts, conversation, and how they feel about running the I. So what they want is, ladies and gentlemen, they want ICT, coaching, PLCs. And the conclusion that we can see here is leadership's values. We talked about empathy yesterday, we talked about integrity. So if leaders or instructional leaders are giving enough empathy and also fairness, I believe that we can see, all right? We can see, and the study itself proved that DI can be reframed as a leadership stance, saying that it's not just a sole pedagogical approach, but manifested through VBL, value-based leadership. Oh, there goes my 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. So these are just pictures of me doing my PLCs and also the talk that we had with our teachers and some from the neighboring schools. That's very fast, Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and have a good day, everyone. Go differentiated instruction. Any question? I go very fast. Terpaksa.
Thank you, Puan Aisyah, for the presentation. We now open for questions.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Madam Aisyah, for a very good presentation. I'm interested when you share about VI. It's not easy to carry out. It's easy to see the theory, right? Reading about the theory is not the same as implementing in the classroom.
Yes.
So my question is, how do you help the leaders of the school to understand how to help to support the teachers, because normally they will go for only the data. They want the data, they want all about the kecemerlangan sekolah, but to support the teachers in the grassroots, in the classroom, on how to cater to the students to get that result is not easy.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, very good question indeed. I'm only a senior assistant, I'm not yet a principal, so it starts with me, I believe. Now, to begin with, I sort of like convince my teachers, my friends, that this is doable, regardless of the classes that you have. And when it's doable, we have to understand that they may get it wrong even the first few times, which they did. And when I did observation with them, we really discussed what are the problems, how to overcome them. And I think that this is where value-based leadership really plays its role, because when I told them that I understand and we have empathy, and a lot of things sometimes cannot be achieved. Objectives sometimes cannot be achieved in that particular lesson. It's okay. It's because being a teacher is about going through 30 years of our lives doing this. So as long as they want to try. And some teachers say, madam, I think I can do this with this class, but I cannot do it with other classes. I say, fine, then by all means. Please, at least not to the extent of not running it or doing it at all. I think it should be tried out. Because when we talk about inclusivity and equity, yes, DI is the answer, right? And also it gives more, I would say, confidence to learners when they can do what is given to them, not just one-size-fits-all kind of a work or lesson. Thank you, ma'am. Yes.
So, you just mentioned that DI is the answer. So, as far as I know, I'm sorry, I'm also a school leader, principal.
Yeah.
So, I also want to help my teachers to implement DI, but there are many challenges
Yes.
in implementing DI. So, what I think is for one teacher, not an easy task to do in the class, because there are, let's say, about 25 to 30 students in one class, and almost all of them are different. So they have to cater the needs of all the students. So how can one teacher manage all the students?
How can one teacher manage all students?
Yeah.
Okay, I started with open classroom. I showed them what I did, and I did not show the best, the better classes, or I chose my own class. So I showed them, and then when we made mistakes, and when we had problems and we stumbled, that is the reality of a classroom, which we sometimes tend to deny. That is so, it's not perfect, nothing is perfect. And also, sometimes there are things that you cannot finish, I think you have to carry it to the next lesson and then let's do it. And as well, some teachers, I encourage them, come and show me what you want to do, how do you want to run DI in your class, let me give you some advice, because I think differentiated instruction is pretty much my area of, I would say, I wouldn't like to use the word expertise, but sometimes I'm quite good at. So I can look and advise. So these teachers, they are more encouraged and confident when they come to us. Okay, let's say, ma'am, we want you to observe us. Okay, let me see what you have. Let's go about this, give some advice. They are better equipped. That's how I put it. Yeah. Inshallah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very good audience.
Are you able to sustain the culture of doing the art?
Yes, trying to, because I just started with my new school 10 months. So let me say I'm taking my own pace. But from time to time, I'll do open classroom. So I want DI to be a culture, but it will definitely take some time.
All right. Thank you, Puan Aisha. Now we will move on to the next presentation. Our next presenter is Puan Nur Azlina Muhammad Razi from Institut Baki, Bandar Enstek. She will present her paper entitled Transforming Inclusive Mathematics Education in Primary School Through Values-Based Instructional Leadership. Please welcome Puan Nur Azlina.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to all. Okay, distinguished conference chair, represented, and juga fellow participants. My name is Nur Azlina bint Muhammad Razi from Department of Educational Research, Institut Baki, Bandar, Enstek. Okay, today I will present my concept paper, Transforming Inclusive Mathematics Education in Primary School Through Value-Based Instructional Leadership. Okay, this is a background rationale. As we know that inclusive education is a part of global, which is to ensure education for all. By declaration a global from UNESCO Salamanca Statement and United Nations Convention shows that established inclusion as a human right, calling for all learners, regardless of ability, to be educated together in mainstream setting. In Malaysia policy, which is the Malaysia Education by 2013 to 2025, which aims 75% inclusion student of special need by 2025. The special education policy, which is reinforces that inclusive schooling and equal access. It also displayes strong policy foundation, which is actual classroom practice, especially in mathematics, which is a difficult subject, has not yet met expectation. Many schools face issues such as limited teachers training, inadequate resources, and inconsistent support from leadership. This is a trend in inclusive education participation in Malaysia 2013 and 2025. It shows that in 2013, only 9.6% of students with SEN is a special education needs, shows that very low. And then from 2017, increased 48.9% and exceeding 60% by 2019. And as of February 2022, enrollment had risen until 75.8% and is surprising that 75% by Malaysia Education Blueprint has been targeted. This upward trend reflects a strong policy commitment, a systematic progress in expanding access to inclusive education. Problem 7, which is that mathematics is abstract. So most probably students can accept. So what we have to do is concept build progressively and difficult. So how we going to solve this for inclusive students? So the teacher lack of inclusive pedagogy training. They have a limited expose, for example, the pre-service training and limited resources, instructional support, and also leadership remain administrative work, and also insufficient emphasis on instructional mentoring and teachers' empowerment. They also need value-based instructional leadership that is a model of empathy, respect, justice as a bridge policy and classroom practice to achieve meaningful inclusion of education. Theoretical foundation is integrated with the three theory, IPAA, which is Inclusive Pedagogical Approach in Action by Florian Black Hawkins 2011, and Universal Design for Learning, UDL, by Cass 2018, and Humanistic Leadership Theory by Shield. These three theories, for the first one, IPPA, emphasize all learners capable of progress regardless of ability. That means it shows that in IPPA, teachers use varied strategy, like just now the presented says that differentiated learning. And the strategy extend learning opportunity for everyone. For universal learning, UDL by Cass promote flexible curriculum that design meet diverse learning needs. That means we have a capability, different ability of the student, of the special need, which is that use multiple mean representation, engagement, and expression to all the students can access the demonstrate understanding. And the humanistic leadership theory by Shield focus on leadership driven by humans such as empathy, respect and justice. And then it encourages principle to lead by care, reflection and more purpose, not just compliance. And the three of the theory, they will integrate, which is leadership, pedagogy, culture to make it holistic inclusion, which is leadership, inspire, support teacher, pedagogy, adapt to meet diverse learner needs, and school culture, sustain inclusion through shared value. Issues and challenges. This is a very typical that we know that national policy promote inclusion, but still remain inconsistent. Teachers training. We lack of the teachers training, inclusive pedagogy especially because we just focus on a common pedagogy. The inclusion not really into the mathematic pedagogy in inclusive. Resource is a common resource by definitely in mathematics, a common mathematics, not focus on teaching aid for student abilities, special needs student. Leadership. School leader often focus on administrative tasks such as report and scheduling. Then lack of guardians in the classroom mentoring because they may be not into the mathematics education in inclusive. They can't guide the mathematics teachers to improve their teaching and learning activities. About the culture of the school and the management, because we have some view inclusion as extra words such as academic subject like mathematics. So the school culture of empathy, respect and collaboration needs to make inclusion sustainable. Okay, this is my proposed conceptual, which is the three of the, just now I explained, value-based instructional leadership, integrate with the inclusive mathematics pedagogy, and supportive school culture, are the three of the theory just now, and then the terms of value-based focus on school leader who guide, mentor, and inspires teacher, inclusive mathematics pedagogy, differentiated instruction, multiple representation because different student, different ability, and then supportive school culture, and then the integration will make it that shape the classroom experiences. Implication for the practice. We know that school leader as a key role, modeling inclusive, such as empathy, justice and respect. So they have to beyond administrative, become instructional mentors and guides to the through observation, feedback and professional collaboration. Teacher also must apply the UDL and other differentiated instruction or the method that look at the different student. Policymakers, they have to integrate for the, that means the improve what is a inclusive education need. And then the community, such as parents, NGO, community, they have to adapt that the inclusive education part of the student is education for all. Conclusion that we have authentic inclusion beyond access, which is not about placement as inclusive student, but is a mainstream classroom, alignment the leadership, we need to the pedagogical practice, so that means what we have to do in the terms of management, and then how the culture of school must do, guide teachers, adapt the pedagogy, culture sustain inclusive, and is give the equitable opportunities for all. And the strategy for MOE, which is propose the framework itself is a proposed framework to the ministry that can be support, for example, as a vision of education system for next year student. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So this is an end of my presentations and questions.
Well, thank you very much for the sharing. When you mentioned about the inclusivity of the students, right? We are supporting the SDG number 4,
yes.
right? So no students left behind.
Yes.
Okay. In terms of having the student at school, the facilities at school is also something to take care of, right? Because
Yes.
not all schools have the correct facilities for the students. So in order for them to learn, they need to be at school.
Yes.
But if the school did not have the facilities, they are not able to do that.
Yes.
So in terms of the facilities and as well as the resources for teachers, okay, maybe there's something else need to be done to support the teachers as well as the students.
So, okay.
For example, resource is must that we have to give to the student, especially the different abilities. For example, resource is a kind of, for example, a syndrome Down student. They have their own resource and teaching aids. What about the autism? So the school definitely must understand the needs. That means they have to check every time the student intake, for example, the New Year student, and then the preparation of the teacher at the first. For example, they receive the new teachers. This is the name of the list student that will come. Maybe not all. For example, inclusive from PPKI to the mainstream class. That means only 1 or 2, not really much. But 2%, we have to understand the background, everything. What is the must to do then the preparation? Example for the mathematics, what is the preparation for the classwork, the management of in the classroom, the preparation of the student before that mean the classroom is tell them you have a new student, inclusive student. What is the stigma of the social that you respect to them? That means the abilities, the disability student you must respect because they have also need to study with us together as a team of the school. Okay, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Puan Nur Azlina. We will move on to our next presentation. Our next presenter is Dr. Muhammad Zaid Ismail from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Permaisuri Nur Zahira, Besut, Terengganu. He will present his paper entitled Contribution of Principles Instructional Leadership on Science Teaching Competency. Please welcome, sir.
Yesterday. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good morning to distinguished moderator, distinguished presenter, participants, and ladies and gentlemen. So I would like to present my paper. This is a research paper. Okay, so the topic is Principles Instructional Leadership Impact on Science Teaching Competency. So actually, this topic is modified by AI. So the written topic is contribution, as you can see in the paper, contributions of instructional leadership on science teaching competency. Okay. Now, where's the sound? Shut down. Where's shut down? So, this is a comprehensive study as meaning how principles, instructional leadership practices.
Doctor?
Yes.
We wait for a while.
Okay.
Then we come out.
Do you count the time?
I paused the time already. It's okay, don't worry.
Technology. So technology cannot replace human. Right. All right. Okay. So I go fast. So as you know, the instructional leadership is the main aspect of principal's leadership in school. Okay. the school's success largely depends on the abilities in instructional leadership. So therefore, the purpose of the study was to identify the contribution or the influence of principles, instructional leadership on science teaching competency. Why science teacher? Because I am a chemistry teacher, so that's why my study is on science teacher. Something wrong with the microphone. Okay.
We still can hear you.
I am unlucky today. Okay. All right. So we go on. This one. This one. How to move the slide? This one. This one.
I don't know. Try. Maybe yes.
This one.
Okay, coba next.
This one.
Oh. Bye. What about?
All right. So no battery.
Cabaran.
All right. The research foundation is there are three things there. The study scope. Nampak awal. Okay. So the study scope with my respondent is 311 science teachers across Terengganu, Malaysia. Schools by using survey approach and or quantitative methodology. And the key findings, instructional leadership significantly contributes to science teaching competency. So I'm using the MOS or SAM, structural equation modeling, in the analysis, right? So because the beta is 0.51, critical ratio is 8.5 with P0.00. Those who are using this analysis will understand what is the value that is shown at the screen. Right. So the impact is international studies shows 20% improvement in student achievement when leaders focus on the instructional leadership. So this is the importance of instructional leadership. So according to Holiday MO5, 1985, so there are three pillars of instructional leadership, as you can see on the screen, which are defining school goals, managing teaching programs, and promoting learning climates. Okay, in defining school goals, there are three dimensions: framing and communicating clear education objectives that align with academic excellence standards, and for managing teaching program, coordinating curriculum, monitoring student progress, and supervising and evaluating instruction. And for promoting learning climate, it includes maintaining high visibility, providing incentive for teachers, providing time for students, learning, protecting valuable instruction or MMI, and fostering professional development. Okay, for science teaching competency framework, so there are three dimensions, which are knowledge and understanding, about subject matter expertise, pedagogical content knowledge, curriculum comprehension. And in terms of teaching and learning skills, it's science process skills, experimental technique, and query-based methods. And interprofessional practice, continuous development, reflective teaching, and collaborative learning. Okay, so the research methodology that is used in this research is quantitative survey approach. Comprehensive data collection using validated PIMRS, which is proposed by Henniger MO5 1985, questionnaire, and modified science competency assessment tools. And stratified random sampling is used to 311 science teachers selected from all districts in Terengganu by using Craigie and Morgan formula. And the structural equation model is also used to look at the models. We call it as interaction models between independent variables to dependent variables. All right. So the statistical result, validation result, the loading factor is 0.70 till 8.84. It is considered all the factors are significant to the research. Okay? So in such leadership, loading factor range for all 9 dimensions confirming the model is significant. So for those who are using this type of analysis or MOS analysis, the value of, if higher than 0.70, it considers as significant. All right. And teaching competency also, the loading factor range demonstrating strong reliability and validity, and critical ratio CR value exceeding 1.96 threshold confirming significant contribution relationship. So I'm sorry for those who do not understand with the base. So you have to study MOS. Right. The key research is significant relationship confirmed that instructor leadership directly and significantly contributes to the science teaching competency with strong statistical support. And then model validation success of the fixed indexes meet required criteria, confirming the proposed instruction model corresponds to the collected data, and theoretical front supported highly unified 3-dimensional instructional leadership theory validated through empirical evidence. So I don't put everything here. I also do not put the model itself because the slides is very limited. You have to only to prepare 10 slides only. Right. Then implications for education practice in leadership development. The principals need targeted training in such leadership practices specific to science education requirement. And for the teacher support systems and SAN, teachers, the leader has to enhance professional development opportunities, focusing on latest scientific teaching strategies and methodologies. For the curriculum alignment, stronger integration between leadership practices and science-based pedagogical approaches for improved outcome. So recommendation for implementation. So first is reduce administrative burden. So we have to re-evaluate principals' rules to minimize non-instructional duties. Most of the principals, they are doing non-instructional duties. They are going to the meeting that is not related to the teaching and learning in the school, right? And then redirecting focus to teaching and learning leadership. Second is to strengthen training modules. The Ministry of Education and teacher training institutions should emphasize instructional leadership concept in professional development, and science-specific support provides science teachers opportunities to engage in cutting-edge scientific teaching strategies and inquiry-based learning. For the future research direction and for national scale study, we can expand this research to include all mission principles and teachers for comprehensive national insight, not only science teachers, but all teachers in Malaysia. And validating factors, investigate additional variables like self-efficacy that may influence their leadership competency relationship. So we can put validating factors such as self-efficacy, okay, of one of the factors that contribute to influence the teacher competency. And subject analysis explore how such a leadership impact differ across various science disciplines and teaching contexts. Thank you very much for your ears. Thank you.
We're open for questions
Technology
from the
make me
floor.
more nervous. All right. Any question? No. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
One
Doctor.
question. I have one question.
Dr. Zaid, there is a question.
Do you have?
All right. Okay. Thank you, Doctor. I'm interested in the 3 pillars of instructional leadership. With I think it's more or less like the S25 theory. and is also focusing on instructional leadership. So why we can see that the PGP, the principals, normally they focus more on the leadership itself, but not the instructional leadership.
Okay. So actually the principal should focus more on instructional leadership. So the thing that happened, what we were asking, why the principal are not focusing on that type of leadership, it is because of the constraint. For example, first is time constraint. So principal has to do a lot of work. It's not just on learning and teaching. The principal also do all types. The whole school is in his head. Okay? And sometimes they are called to the meeting, they are going out, they are not in the school. For example, me, this week I'm not around at the school. so this is the principal should delegate or empower this task to the assistants. Okay. So we have to enhance the role of principals. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad Zaidi. Now we will now move on to our next presentation. Our next presenter is Aisha Hassan from Republic of Maldives with her paper entitled Insights on Inclusive Education in Bilingual Classroom, Secondary Evidence from an Island Nation.
Assalamualaikum. Thank you, MC, and thank you for the audience. So, I'm Aisha, and as the MC has very graciously introduced, I am from Maldives, and my research is also centered around the inclusive education practices already included in our system. Also, some are possible practices that we could incorporate in our system. So the paper that we wrote is by myself and my husband and research partner, Dr. Vishal. I represent the Ministry of Education of Maldives, and Dr. Vishal is the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the Islamic University of Maldives. So the title of our paper is Insights on Inclusive Education in Bilingual Classroom, Secondary Evidence from an Island Nation. By bilingual. So we know about the luxury side or the touristy side of Maldives. This is the whole map, but this is the reality or the real factors that we do not talk about. This is the capital city of Maldives, which is the most densely populated island in the world, and this is another island in Maldives. Is here you can see that only about 1/4 is where people are living. We have around 200 people also living in this island. This is the island where my father is from. This is the island where my mother is from. So I am a combination of both. And this is our script. We have our own language, we call Dilahi, and we have our own script. And this is how we write the name of Malaysia. So this is how we write your country's name in our script. So the basis of this, the key idea behind our research is the global push that we have now for equitable inclusive education, which is led through the SDG 4 and the CRPD Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the Salamanca Statement, which my other friend has talked about, and also things like Incheon Statement. And in the Maldivian context, inclusive education has a very strong base. The National Constitution advocates it, Education Act, which was passed in 2020, advocates for it, and also we have a specific policy for inclusive education that has been passed and in practice. However, as I have showed you the contextual difficulties that we have, the implementation is uneven due to the geographical issues that we have and also the language barriers that we have. So within the problem context, we identified the geographical dispersion and the limited specialists in our island nations. Most of these, what we know mostly about Maldives is about, as I said, your resorts and also the capital city, where the access to different services and different specialists are quite prominent. But in the islands, this is not the case. And also, the community is Divahi speaking. We speak in Divahi in general. However, the schools are English medium instruction based. So we can see where the difficulties arise. And also there is a huge resource gap, funding gap, resources, specialist gaps between the capital city and also the atolls. Therefore, we aimed at identifying low-cost scalable strategies for inclusive education led bilingual classrooms, and through qualitative document analysis of already published policies, NGO reports, and other reports by UNICEF, UNESCO, and also academic studies conducted in our context. We've conducted this research using the analytical framework by Brown and Clark 6-phase thematic analysis. And the main focus was on the meaning, patterns, context, and the feasibility of the findings. So here you can see phase 1 where is the familiarization with data, where we reviewed Maldivian education. Findings. So we came up with 4 strategies. As I said, low cost because of the context in the islands. We have 2 principals who are working currently in Maldivian schools, so they would know the difficulties that they have because they come from these low resource, low population schools. So these are strategies I hope that they can use in their classrooms to strategy 1 is the mother tongue scaffolding, UDL-based lesson design, and there was one other presentation about DI also, which they can incorporate here, peer and community approaches, and modular teacher coaching. So first 2 strategies can be gathered under being classroom focused. Number 1 is about mother tongue scaffolding. So evidence from other SIDS countries such as Fiji and Mauritius, as we know Maldives is a SIDS country, shows systematic scaffolding which improves comprehension and long-term second language acquisition. English language is the main language spoken in business world, in the academic environment in Maldives. Therefore, it is important for our students to acquire strong second language. Therefore, teachers can be equipped with bilingual glossaries, dual language visuals, and I can advocate my teaching background, though I work now in policy, my teaching background is English language. So this is something that I practically used in my teaching days, and it did improve the comprehension and it supports the transition to English language because it helps the students. For example, concepts like grammar is quite easy when we teach the students the equivalent of, for example, nouns in what it is in local language. So for them, the comprehension is quite easy when we do the mother tongue scaffolding into a second language. And this transitional bilingual approaches strengthen the English through the very strong first language that they already have built in. And this requires minimal resources and is accessible for the atoll schools also. And then we talk about the UDL lesson plan. We know what UDL is, so I'm not going to go into that. And evidence from local schools show increased student engagement from all the students and especially higher participation from students with complex learning profile, our term for SEN students. And UDL is again a scalable low-cost strategy with things like visual organizers, assessment options, and so on. However, we have a challenge. We are shifting the teacher mindset from designing lessons to average the community. As you can see from the second picture, I showed some of the communities are very strong. So building on that close-knit communities, we can leverage community resources to sustain inclusion, including things like peer tutoring, parental workshops, shared assistive tools, and we can build up pools of such tools that the schools can access and also get the help of the NGOs within the communities. And this is especially beneficial for Maldives because our geography limits the access that we have. And then to talk about modular coaching, this is very much different from the centralized teacher training system that we have. But this can also be built in with specialized teachers, coaches, and sustainability can also be embedded in this by training the local teachers to create clusters of schools who can continue with the modular teacher coaching. So this is, as we can see, it reflects CRPD-based DG4, Salamanca, and all these principles. And this is a very good local fit for the geographically dispersed low-resource schools that we have, which is the majority of the Maldivian school community. And for us school leaders and for policy, embedding this into the policy and practice is going to be quite important because in terms with the current migration patterns of Maldives, what we can see is quite a lot of people from island communities still shifting towards the densely populated capital. So the island communities will still get lower. So basically key takeaways, these practices are going to facilitate equity and is feasible and scaled up through people like us and you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Aisan. Now we will open the floor for questions.
Yeah, it's coming from the Maldivian principle.
Yeah, I just have one question because you talked about language technology. So as our state minister yesterday mentioned, our mother tongue is slowly vanishing from our country. So will there be any effect on that if we do this?
As I said, mother tongue scaffolding is something that as a language teacher, I stopped being a classroom teacher in 2016. So back then even I used this approach, and through my practice I didn't feel that students, their mother tongue proficiency decreased. But in fact, I am still doing some part-time lecturing at one of the universities in Maldives, teaching adults English language. So basic English language. So this method, I'm still using it there, and it's quite easy for the students when I try to integrate both languages because it helps them understand. And it helps them understand because they already have a foundation of the local language or the mother tongue built in, and then showing them the similarities between our mother language and the second language that they are trying to acquire. I feel that it doesn't have a detrimental effect, but rather adds to the knowledge that they have, and sometimes they also do learn some new things about their own language. And this is about our own language, but I feel that this is a strategy which any other country or any other language can use when it comes to second language acquisition also. For example, in Malaysia also, your own mother tongue, the similarities or differences or how you can incorporate into the SLA in the language classes. I hope that answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Aisha. Okay, we will now move on to our next presentation. Our next presenter is Puan Nur Azman Abdullah.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to ICELAM committee. So my name is Nur Asmahan binti Abdullah from College Matrikulasi Kelantan. Okay, so today I will present about my studies about the relationship between instructional leadership practices and professional competency among the lecturers in pre-university. So these studies also joined with my supervisor, Prof. Dr. Siti Nur Ismail and Dr. Mari Kasim from University Utara Malaysia. So let's go to the introduction. As we know that instructional leadership is essential for improving teaching quality, and it involves guiding teachers, providing feedback and supporting growth. So as mentioned in the new one and Ismail is stated, instructional is crucial for managing educational changes and ensuring quality teaching. For professional competency means having a good mix of subject knowledge, teaching skills, assessment literacy, and professional ethics. The objectives of my study is to determine the level of instructional leadership and the level of professional competency among the lecturers in matriculation college. And the second one is to analyze the relationship between of both variables. So this is the literature review for the both variable instructional leadership and the professional competency. Here are the conceptual framework. I choose the independent variable is instructional leadership for consists of 5 dimensions, which is realize the college goal, incentive and professional development, observation in instructional evaluation, standard curriculum and instruction, and development and empowerment of academic standard. So this one is from model of PMRS from Hellinger and Murphy. For dependent variable is from SGM Standard Guru Malaysia. So this is the adapted questionnaire for professional competency, consists of 4 dimensions: basic knowledge and pedagogical, professionalism, planning and subject evaluation, and management and development student and college. So I use quantitative design with correlational study, involve of 380 academic lecturers from all the matriculation college in Malaysia. It's divided into 6 zones. And I'm using stratified random sampling, and the instrument is adapted questionnaire, and I use the Gaussian correlation for the analysis. This is the value for reliability test, and it shows that the questionnaire is high in reliability. So these are the result of to identify the level for instructional leadership. Overall shows that the mean is a high level, with the score mean is 5.43, and the highest is at the incentive and professional development with the score 5.87, and the lowest is development and empowerment academic standard. For the level of professional competency, overall shows that with very high level, with the mean score is 6.04, the highest dimension is the planning and subject evaluation, and the lowest is for management and development student and college. For correlation, we have analyzed using Pearson correlation. It shows that the R value is 0.265, meaning that the relationship is positively related with the score 26.5%. So this means that the high-level instructional leadership align with the research from Zan and Alias and Nuna. Also for professional competency is aligned with Monami and Ruzia, and the data is with the OECD data. And the relationship shows the positively related is aligned with Deng, Kong, and Soip studies. For conclusion, implementation of principal instructional leadership shows a significant and closely correlated relationship with the professional competency in matriculation college, meaning that the principal gives the very significant correlating to the academic lecturer. So it will utilize the instructional leadership theory and practice to improve professional competency among the academic lecturer. And this study will highlight the need for school leaders, especially for matriculation, pre-university STP, and A-level, to establish systematic opportunities for lecturers to engage through the professionalism program. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan. Now I open for the floor for questions. Thank you for your presentation, Puan. Okay, we will move on for our next presenter. Okay, our next presenter is Puan Citra Krishnan from Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan St. Paul, Seremban Negeri Sembilan. She will presenting her paper entitled Instructional Leadership for Sustainability, Integrating SDG for Awareness.
Good afternoon to everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Citra Krishnan. I'm from St. Paul Institution, Seremban, from Malaysia. It's a boys' school. And I'm very glad to be here today, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to present my topic regarding instructional leadership. I think I'm very much sure the past few days we are already enough talking about the instructional leadership, and we learned so much about instructional leadership. But my focus today is more about instructional leadership for sustainability, integrating SDG 4, awareness and Madani concept in education. Before I further my article or my presentation, I would like to talk about the two quotes that really inspire better persons. I think knowledge is not enough. You should have respect. The respect comes from the character. The second quote is regarding leadership is action, not position. To become a leader, it doesn't mean you hold a position. You have to be a real leader beyond your positions. So I find these two quotes really matters when we talk about values-driven leadership in the world of education. So, my objective of my article is regarding how instructional leadership can promote sustainable education by integrating Sustainable Development Goal SDG 4. It's more about a quality education with the Malaysian Madani concept and Malaysia's national education philosophy. Okay, so nowadays we are talking about instructional leadership. So what is about instructional leadership? Leaders should play the role as a leader, as a game changer. They should evolve. So when you talk about instructional leadership, it's about a concept that prioritizes teaching and learning as a central mission of schools. More than a managerial functions, instructional leadership is a strategic, research-informed practice aimed at improving teacher effectiveness and students' outcomes. So, now we will talk about Sustainable Development Goal for SDG 4. So we already have a nicely designed SDG 4. Let's talk about a global education policy. So the global pursuits of sustainable development as positions education as a fundamental catalyst for societal transformation. So SDG 4 is ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. So when we talk about quality education, so the SDG 4, the Sustainable Development already have 17 goals. So when you talk about quality of education, education is the key that will allow many other Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, as we know, to be achieved when people are able to get quality education. I think it's sufficient enough. They can break from other cycle of poverty. Now, we'll look about Malaysian Madani educations. I think many of you know about it. Okay, the Madani concept derived from the word Arabic word for civilizations, represent Malaysia's commitment to building a progressive and a nation-grounded and universal values. The framework encompasses 6 core pillars: sustainability, prosperity, innovation, respect, trust, and compassion. So these values provide a foundation for national development that aligns closely with the principle underlying sustainable education. So Madani concept in educational context has emphasized the principle of sustainability. So directly relates to fostering environmental awareness and responsible citizenship among students, aligning with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. about Malaysia's national education philosophy. Malaysia, we have a nicely designed Malaysian national education philosophy established in 1988, articulates the country's visions for education as a continuous effort to develop individuals holistically and integrally in all aspects: spiritual, emotional, intellectual, physical, and social, based on belief and obedience to God. The philosophy emphasizes the development of individuals who are knowledgeable, competent, possess high moral standards, and are responsible and capable of contributing to the well-being of the family, society, and nation. Now, the question is, so all this conceptual framework and the policies, how is going to work under instructional leadership? So, the instructional leadership becomes the bridge between vision and practice. So, leaders who explicitly incorporate values and ethical considerations into their instructional leadership practices are more effective in creating meaningful learning experiences and developing student characters. So, my method. This study employed a conceptual and literature-based methodology designed to develop a comprehensive understanding on how instructional leadership can integrate SDG 4, Madani values, and Malaysia's national education philosophy in Malaysian educational context. So the methodology was selected to enable a thorough exploration of theoretical foundations while identifying practical implications for educational practices. So what I found out, theoretical framework. So I found out a predicate integration model. So the integration of SDG 4, Madani values, and Malaysia's national education philosophy can be conceptualized through a predicate model where instructional leadership serves as the central coordinating. You can see I put the instructional leadership as a mechanism where it can coordinating, it becomes the main force. This model recognizes that effective integrations requires active leadership that can navigate the complexities of multiple frameworks while maintaining the focus on educational outcomes. Okay, how does it work? So integration principle, first, all the principles, okay, where you can collect from holistic development, so importance of development individuals comprehension is happening. Then value-based education, we are focusing on character development, where our education ministry is focusing on our character development and cultural responsiveness. So education is both internationally and relevant and culturally meaningful. And the last one is sustainability orientation. We are preparing the individuals who can contribute to sustainable development as what we are doing now. Okay. So at last, instructional leadership, leaders who must ensure that the curriculum design explicitly incorporates elements from all the three frameworks that I have mentioned earlier. So this requires moving beyond superficial additions to achieve meaningful integration that enhances rather than fragments the educational experience. So comprehensive professional development programs like we do have in schools, peer teaching, peer learning communities. So all these programs are essential for helping teachers to understand and implement integrated approaches. So such programs must address both theoretical understanding and also practical skills for implementation. Apart from that, assessment practices must be aligned with the comprehensive goals of the integrated framework, measuring not only academic achievement, but also character development, values internalization, and sustainability competences. So the integration requires strong partnership with the families, communities to reinforce values and provide authentic context for learning about sustainability and citizenship. So with that, before I end, as as what we mentioned, what our Prime Minister, Education Minister mentioned yesterday. So we are more to think about that culture, more to building our character buildings, education. So we need the instructional leadership to move more about sustainable education leader. With that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan Chitra, for the presentation. Now we will open for questions.
Yes.
Interesting sharing about especially about the graduate integration model. Okay, when you put the regulations model, alright, how do you find what are the hiccups in relying the process of implementing it in real situation, especially at schools level?
Okay, at schools levels, I think our point was that as we know, we are facing a lot of discipline problems. It's happening everywhere. I don't think so everybody will accept that. So, to bring out the values among the students, we need to focus on what we already have. So that's my point. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Puan.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, we will now move on to our last. We now move on to our last presentation. Our next presenter is Puan Pang Yi Jie from College Tingkatan 6 Tun Fatimah, Melaka.
Hello, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Teacher Pang from College Tingkatan 6 Tun Fatimah, Melaka. Today I'm sharing the best practice about transforming traditional classroom with Minecraft education in overcoming barriers through game-based learning, a case study. Why this topic is chosen? Because if the children cannot learn the way we teach, we should teach the way they learn. And now the new generation, they can't accept the teaching method which is just talk and talk, but they need the student-centered method and hands-on. Therefore, this Minecraft education is chosen because the students are very interested in the game-based learning, and this Minecraft education is under the Microsoft Education, which implement all the curriculums and the learning outcomes based on the Sustainable Development Goals. Because the traditional classroom face challenges such as the disengagement, limited collaboration, and restricted creativity. Therefore, this Minecraft Education edition offers a platform for the creative, collaborative, and active learning aligned with the Malaysia Education Blueprint 2030 to 2025 and the UNESCO SDG 4 and 11. These two SDGs are chosen based on the case study. The case study of this student-led project is an Odyssey through the history, which is the Malacca, and the second is a St. Basil Cathedral in Moscow, Russia. The research objective is to explore how the Minecraft education edition transforms learning and examine two projects and identify how this MEE promotes engagement, creativity, collaboration, and cultural awareness. Okay, myself is a physics teacher, but I'm very focused about the global citizenship. Therefore, this theme is chosen based on the culture preservation. The students are given the scenario, which are the UNESCO World Heritage Site are keep damaging, and endangered. Therefore, the students use this Minecraft education to preserve the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The data collected is a qualitative comparative case study. So the participants are the two groups of 5 students, and the data collected through the survey, focus group artifact, for example, the video, the sketches, the notes, and finally, the data is analyzed using this thematic analysis framework. Okay, so this is the first case study, and obviously through the history. Through this case study, the student present how the Malacca World Heritage Site is preserved in digital form. And through the interview, the students said that, I never thought history could be this fun. I was actually excited to research details so we could build it accurately. For example, if we ask the students to learn about the history through the books, they are very sleepy and not interested. But through the video created by the students, the whole class are very enjoying learning the historical side. For the second case is about the St. Basil Cathedral. Okay, this St. Basil Cathedral is in Moscow, Russia. Okay, so the interview stated that no one could finish a project this big alone. We had to depend on each other. So from this interview, we know that the project must be in teamwork. Okay, and this is to encourage the creativity they can discuss among each other. Okay, to finalize the objective. Okay, so when the result is collected from this survey in analyzed in the descriptive analysis, okay, and there are 4 main things: engagement, collaboration, motivation, and problem solving. Okay, for the document analysis, these are the report collected from the students. The students need to research the actual structure. Okay, for example, in Malacca et Formosa, okay, and the Malacca Strait Most area, so they need to do the planning before they start the building in Minecraft. Okay, so this is the second case study in this St. Basil Cathedral. The student need to sketch on the graph paper. Okay, they calculate using the mathematics, what is the area, what is the length, then they start the building. Okay, let me play the video for the document. The student view it block by block. Okay, if you understand Minecraft, actually is a block. So all these buildings are built, okay, from a cube. Okay, so I only play the video for 1 minute.
Set proudly on the southwestern coast of Peninsula Malaysia, Malacca is the 3rd smallest state in this country. For centuries a strategic training center, this beautiful city was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008 in recognition of its history and architectural significance. It was once the center of the Malacca Sultanate before the city fell to the Portuguese in 1511, followed by the Dutch and the British Empire. Malacca is now strewn with the remnants of a glorious past, beginning at St. Paul's Hill, one with five.
Okay, this is the second case study.
The oldest church in Southeast Asia and Malaysia.
St. Basil's Cathedral is situated in Moscow, Russia. It consists of 9 main chapels, each topped with an onion dome. My team members include Cheryu, Rinyu, Jongyu, Tzi, and Aki. We took 2 weeks to complete it. As you can see, its vivid colors is an attractive contrast against the downs.
Okay, so this Minecraft transforms learning from passive to active. Okay, in the building session, the students collaborate and they are built together during the session. This can encourage the resilience and inclusivity because in Minecraft education, it is suitable for the students which are inclusive. Okay, means in this micro education they can use the translation. Okay, they also can use the wording, okay, to transfer into the speech. Okay, and this is aligned with the SDG quality education and SDG 11 sustainable cities and communities. Okay, because through this SDG 11, the students know how to preserve the UNESCO World Heritage Site. okay, and promoted collaboration, cultural identity, and design thinking. So this research foster this 21st century skill, communication, creativity, collaboration, and critical thinking, and transform traditional pedagogy and support Malaysia education goals. It encourages innovation, resilience, and global awareness among the students. So for the future study, we can include other SDGs such as clean energy, okay, which every year Ministry of Education of Malaysia organize this Minecraft education competition, and a lot of SDG is included in the competition. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Madam. Is there any question for Madam? Okay, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's very interesting about using Minecraft in teaching history. So we know that here in Malaysia for SPM we need history, all students need to pass history. So in using Minecraft, I can see from the result that we have for problem solving, so for history as well, students have to answer higher order thinking skills. So these skills they need in order to answer that kind of questions. So how will you share this with the history teachers to help teaching history to be more attractive to the students, enjoyable to the students, and helping them in the end to get the good results in the examination?
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, if you understand this Minecraft education feature, actually we can make it like a virtual world. We can make the whiteboard, and there is a NPC, means non-player character. So when the student enter the world, they can click on the NPC. The NPC will explain to the students. Okay, let's say we want to explain about the World War. So the NPC will start to give the link. The student can click on the link, okay, and to study, to get further information. And the teacher also can create some quiz inside this Minecraft. For example, they can create some boxes. The student do the open the chat box and find the valuable things. So after they collect some values, then it can turn into another form of the maybe other blocks. So actually through this Minecraft, we can create our own teaching material to make the students more interested. So we can link all the resources in this world. It is something like Google Classroom, but it's in the 3D world. So we can create ourselves the material. Yeah, I would like to share with everyone. If you are interested, I can maybe teach your students how to use this Minecraft. Yeah, in every subject actually, because in this Minecraft they are very comprehensive. Even in chemistry, mathematics, is all included. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Madam. Thank you to all presenters, and thank you all for the engaging questions. That's all for the time we have for parallel academic presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, as a token of appreciation to the presenters, I would like to invite Puan Kaizia T. Binti Osman, the Director of Institut Aminuddin Baki Sabah, to present certificates of presentation to the presenters. Please welcome. I would like to invite the first presenter, Dr. Jamila Bibi Abdullah, to come forward to receive a certificate of presentation. Next, the second presenter. Please welcome Puan Aisyah Muhammad Hamdan. We'll move on to the next presenter. Please welcome Puan Nur Azlina Muhammad Razi. Next presenter is Dr. Muhammad Zaid Ismail. Next presenter, please welcome Madam Aishat Hassan. Next, please welcome Puan Nur Azmahan Abdullah. Next presenter is Puan Chitra Krishnan.
Ready, 1, 2, 3, one more, 1, 2.
And the last one is Puan Pang Yijie. Please welcome. Nanti baca bersedia. Thank you, Puan Khaizati binti Osman, presenting the certificate of presentation to the excellent presenters. We would like to, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to thank all presenters again for their invaluable contribution to the 4th ICELAM 2025. We also want to thank you all, our audience, for your active participation and thoughtful questions. Your engagement has truly enriched our learning experience and development. We would like to give a gentle reminder to all to scan the QR code before you leave and fill in the evaluation form. Your cooperation is fully appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this session. We hope to see you all of you again in future and have a good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you.